Ever since preschool, I've woken up in the morning and knew exactly what I was going to wear to school that day. Not because I laid my outfit on my bed every single night, but because my school had a uniform policy. Even though uniforms tend to take away a student's uniqueness, I believe that uniforms should be applied in American high schools because uniforms could reduce violence and bullying, it would focus attention more on education, and it could reduce clothing costs for parents. School uniforms have the power to decrease violence in school settings. According to Yasmin L. Coheim-Klingstein, gang activity is very popular in urban schools. Wearing gang symbols or gang colors is part of the fashion trend. Uniforms would eliminate this gang movement. To support this, in a 2003 Education and Urban Society article by Kathleen Wade and Mary Stanford, report that students at schools with uniforms perceive lower levels of gang violence than teachers at schools with no uniforms. Gang symbols on students' clothing, however, is not the only way violence is started. School shootings is more likely to happen in the United States. Access to guns has been a major issue in the last 25 years. According to Andrew, 85 people died in the last 2 school years, and 75% of this is due to the firearms in the presence of a school. School administrations have tried to stop this violence with the clear backpack policy or making the students go through a metal detector before entering the school. Uniforms could never solve this problem, but it could have an impact. Wilson and Marion state that this is one reason school districts implement dress codes. Some schools are even required to have students' belt lines to be shown so guns cannot be concealed under their clothing. Additionally, educators report a decrease in violence reduction in fights in schools and an improvement school achievement when dress codes have been implemented. If uniforms were enforced in schools, there's a possibility that guns would be harder to bring into schools. If uniforms were enforced, all the students would look identical. Therefore, if the intruder was not from the school and he came into the school administration could pick him or her out extremely easily because they would not look like the rest of the students. Therefore, the level of violence could drop and the safety of the students might be able to start to increase. Schools should not be a public place that students are worried to come into. School is a learning environment that should be a safe space for everyone. Distracting clothing risks the costs of education in schools. When students are allowed to choose whatever they want to wear to school, problems are created. Students' priorities can be rotated towards what others are wearing. Questions arise like, what brand is that? Is that in style? Or how much was that? Can fill a student's mind. Peer pressure to fit in and to wear what the cool kids are wearing. When the students have the same appearance, it eliminates the risk of bullying for making fun of another classmate's outfit. Bullying is a possibility if students are not wearing the name brand clothing. Schools taking away students' free will means taking away name brand clothing. Clothing distracts when school's main concern is making sure girls' attire is appropriate. Administration can be focused on what everyone else is wearing rather than focusing on learning. Forspring explains that the factor of the dress code in America are targeted towards females more than males. More school districts have firm laws against what females cannot wear due to the fact that it might distract the boys. This teaches girls that their bodies are distractions because men cannot handle themselves. Forspring states, though these dress codes may seem safeguards against inappropriate dress, the underlying message is they exist to not distract male perpetuals, a dangerous message. The allegation, being supported, can deteriorate a girl's self-image, and it promotes the message that girls are being objects. If girls are told their clothes are inappropriate, this might cause fear in them to come to school because they don't want to get humiliated. The problem of distracting boys would be solved with uniforms. The school would simply authorize a uniform appropriate for boys and girls. According to Carso, when all students are wearing the same outfit, they are less concerned about how they look and how they'll fit in with their peers. Thus, they can concentrate on their schoolwork. Students' main focus should be their schoolwork. School should not be a fashion show to see what every other student is wearing. I cannot put a price on good education. However, there's a hefty price tag on how much parents spend on back-to-school shopping for clothing every single year. According to the National Retail Federation, in recent years, parents have spent close to $231 per child on back-to-school clothing shopping. When students enter middle school and especially high school, they begin to create their own sense of style, which therefore increases the per child spending. If parents have more than one child, not every child is going to have the same sense of fashion. Therefore, a new wardrobe for each child every year. Uniforms, on the other hand, can be passed down to younger siblings. Since uniforms are worn every single day, they should last a long time. Burns explains that brands like Lands' End and Dickies are trying to save parents money. These brands are offering lifetime guarantee. Parents could also sell the uniforms after students have outgrown them to other parents whose kids go to the same school district. Even though uniforms tend to take away a student's uniqueness, schools should be required to have uniforms because uniforms could reduce violence and bullying, focus students' attention on education, reduce clothing costs for parents, and uniforms could limit distractions in school and maintain students' focus on what is most important, education. Uniforms are not only beneficial to students in the school system, but also the parents. Other benefits that come with school uniforms are parents and kids have less wardrobe battles. Getting kids ready is much easier with only one outfit choice and more time in the morning to get ready, and shopping becomes less of a hassle. Parents should not have to spend a fortune on their kids' wardrobes every year. The only thing parents should be worried about is their kids' education.